This is the bonus section podcast, episode number 89. Stop lying. Are you the type of person that knows you are meant for something greater in this lifetime and that somewhere inside of you, there's just this bigger version of yourself trying to break through? But despite all your self-development, personal development, you just can't seem to find the way up? Well, then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the bonus section, the host of this podcast, and a person just like you trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to move in a better direction, we take all the notes from each of these episodes and we post them for a short period of time at freethinkingtools.com. Yes, they go away. There's only 2 episodes up there at a time because if I put them all up there, you'd get over there and your ADD would screw you all up and you'd do nothing, right? So, or your OCD would have you downloading everything and then you'll get paralyzed. Just a couple episodes. Print one out. Think about what it's saying and just spend some time thinking. Everybody's on the move these days and nobody thinks anymore. Go to a quiet place, a comfortable place and think. All right, in this episode, we'll discuss the topic, stop lying. This is a tough one, right? Because there's danger in lying to yourself. And the truth is, we do it, all of us. Right? I mean, I know some of you goody two-shoes pretendees think you don't do it, but we lie to ourselves all the time. And it might feel like a little white, innocent lie in our heads. And I'm talking really from a standpoint of your life. If you look at your life, you know you judge yourself. We all do. We judge where we're at in life and how we're progressing. Tony Robbins talks about this wonderfully. He said, I'll show you how to be happy, make progress. So the minute that we don't make progress, we can feel pain. We can feel regret, frustration. It can border on anger. And to make that go away, the animal brain says, whoa, we're burning too much calories, getting all upset. And we lie to ourselves. Well, that goal didn't matter anyway. Or we couldn't achieve it because of our circumstances. Or I got too old and I just don't have the resource. I don't have the physicality. On we go. Well, those are all lies. They're lies. And it's happening all the time inside of us. You might say, well, that's just a compromise. Yes, but to compromise on something that we really wanted, we're not always legitimately blocked off by something. Look, I get it. I get that there are legitimate obstacles that you might not be able to overcome. I mean, if you're 56 years old, right? And you have an endeavor to play in the NBA and you're all of 5'9" and 3/4 on your best day, right? You're not going. It's not happening. I get that. I understand. But I'm talking about progress. Let's just go back to progress. If Tony Robbins is right about progress being something that triggers all the good stuff in us and we feel good and we have less regret, less pain, well, that's a pretty good thing, I'd say. And maybe what was important to you, a wise man once told me, what's important to you today won't be. So as you see your life roll out in front of you, there might be some legitimate gear shifts. You might be going in different directions than you expected to. You were on the path to one goal and it felt fulfilling and just physically it didn't work out, or all of a sudden your interest waned and it wasn't important, but it opened up a new surprise door. And there was the thing that was probably you were getting prepared to see it. Maybe you couldn't see it. Maybe it was always in there. I don't know. But it's that sticking point always where we get stuck and we start to compromise by lying to ourselves that things aren't important, that we don't have the resources, whatever it might be. And that becomes a habit. And it might be an unconscious habit. It might be something that you're not conscious of the fact that you're doing it. See, this is why I actually say spend some time thinking. That's why reading is just a powerful thing. Some of the greatest minds that I follow are voracious readers because they spend that time reading and thinking. And they're becoming more conscious, and a lot of them gravitate towards the diminishing of the ego and their insecurities, where they become realistic about these things that they're actually doing and going through, and they have an easier time diminishing that ego and lying to themselves less. You can see it. You can hear it in them. They're just more humble. They're not trying to impress anybody. It's not always like compete at the somebody has to lose level. They just start to float through life, sharing what they know and giving back. It's a pretty cool thing to watch when you see people. And I know nobody out there listening makes a mistake. So we have to condemn. Every time somebody does the wrong thing, we condemn them, right? We just don't consider, hey, that's us too. And maybe it's not on a grand scale, and maybe it's not publicized, and maybe it's not there for everybody to beat the crap out of that person. Let's use the mirror, right? Because here's the next danger about that, and why we see people that get caught lying in all sorts of contexts. It's because all of us are developing this habit to do it to ourselves. So lying internally to yourself actually causes you to lie to everyone. And here we go again. You might be unconscious about this. And I get it, but I don't know what it is. I'm obsessed with this animal brain that just bails out. The animal brain, looks at surviving every day. And if it sees you in a situation with family, business partners, friends, whatever, and it just all of a sudden says, well, like dealing with that right now is not going to help us eat. So just tell them a lie. Right? Tell them you can't meet him out there for a play date because you got something else to do. It's just a little white lie. It doesn't mean anything. You're blowing him off. Well, see, the problem with that is it just compounds. And then the lies get bigger. And then the next thing you know, it's really sucking up a lot of energy. Now, the reason I really got into this subject is because as the father of 5 kids, it becomes glaringly obvious to me, look, I'm a lot smarter at 56 than I was at my kid's age. So when I look back at myself, I look as dumb as a box of rocks. I think my kids have all evolved beyond that. So let me just give you that caveat before I critique my own kids or any of my coaching clients or anybody that comes to me for help or whatever I've learned. It's so much easier in retrospect to look at this and be so smart, because that's what happens over time. You recognize how to make these distinctions. And all this intelligence is certainly lost on a more youthful version of me. And so when I see the energy sap that it took to lie to myself, and whatever that might be, if I wasn't as good an athlete at one point in time, or as good of a student, or the outcome wasn't there, and it just the regret triggered, in my case, mostly angry. I would always be angry because the things didn't work my way. But when I look back now, I'm like, oh man, did you really sit still, write that clear goal down so you could see that was more important than the rest of the noise in your head? Begin to ask yourself how you could create a plan to get after it. Then be really super resourceful and in learning and super disciplined, and save the calories from being wasted on the BS of lying to yourself, and reserve those calories for the real effort that it was going to take. Because you see, the third point here is anything is possible when you stop lying. Anything. Now, look, stop lying is an absolute statement, and I get that these little lies aren't going to go away. Again, I'm going to argue that is the devil of the animal brain that's just trying to survive. It's trying to save energy, and thriving takes a lot of energy. Becoming the best you can be takes a lot of energy. So you're dang right that your animal brain's going to be lying to you and tricking you all the time into saving calories. So we have this internal battle. But it really is true that anything is possible if you'll stop tripping yourself up and depleting your energy when you're lying. It really is. And you can see examples of it all the time when somebody is just truthful and they're humble and they're broken. And we love that. You can go to YouTube and you can see the story of somebody who just gets humbled by life, and they're no longer the braggart or the loudmouth or whomever they are. And we begin to root for them because we see ourselves in them. And I'll argue we want to be that. We want to be broken down to the point where we can be humble, real, truthful, free. It's freedom. It's the ultimate freedom. That's what you're looking for, right? So you have to be free in that moment. I think that's really important. So I want to tell you a little bit about what happened, why this is even a bigger topic though. Because if you think I'm just talking to you, just think more globally. So I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson lately. And Jordan Peterson is just a thinker. Whether you like him or not, I don't get that when somebody puts themselves out there to just speak and take counterpoints. Why don't you just listen? And don't politicize it or don't whatever to it. Just leave it be and just listen. And when you listen, he has these incredible academic shares. So does Charlie Munger. I heard this incredible academic share. When you start listening to people really talk, you're going to see where they learned from. What was their source? And so Peterson says he's a huge fan of Stolchnitsin. And Stolchnitsin wrote a book that's sitting on my bureau at home. It's about that thick. And Stolchnitsin wrote the story, or as Peterson tells it, he talks about being in the gulag during when Hitler and Stalin and all these forces were at play, and he was stuck in the gulag for a long time. And he asks himself, what did I do? He could have blamed everybody else, but what did I do to be here? And he comes to this conclusion that if one man would stop lying, you could topple a tyranny. And Peterson actually gives him credit for that. He gives Stolchnitsin the credit in this book. The Gulag Archipelago is what it's called. Forgot to mention that, right? He mentions that this guy has this cathartic writing of this book, and he credits him with the dismantling of the Soviet Union. That's incredible. And again, there are tyrannical anecdotes there, meaning the tyranny of the Soviet Union is toppled by this truthful explanation by this guy Stolchnitsin. That's pretty compelling. I mean, I can't wait to get to the book, and it's staring me in the face, and it's calling me in, because there's something powerful about lying at an extreme level there and what's possible when we stop doing it. So the bonus section here, or the bonus section, is pretty simple. I want you to think about this, that lying takes enormous energy. It takes enormous energy if you really sit down and think about it. So here's the animal brain trying to save energy because it dismisses everything that looks like it requires work. And the irony is it causes you to lie, which is the greatest depletion of your energy. What an irony. And the worst part of that is the effect is that it steals the best of what's possible for you. See, you want to thrive and you're wondering why, and everything seems so burdensome and requires so much energy. I remember when I was breaking out to my own to become a business person, I was thinking about doing all this content. And even when I think about it now, to live in the most fulfilling way, to be a person for others. I was born to be a person for others and to give away my best what to do or what to think about stuff for free. I knew what energy it would take. And it was scary. How would I do that with 5 kids, now 4 businesses? How would I do it? How would I find the time to sit here like I am on a beautiful 90-degree day, but yet doing it? Because I stopped lying to myself that everything else mattered more than living authentically. And I started to sacrifice, and I find the energy. I find the energy to sit here. I feel more, I get the chills just talking about it and sharing it with you. You find the energy because you're living authentically in what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not lying to yourself that, oh, nobody will matter, nobody listens, and I can't stop hearing people say, I saw this video, I like this, and what you said, and it's stunning to me. And great, I don't even need to hear that. I'm going to do it anyway. That's what's possible. And that's just the beginning. I don't know where this sort of freedom is going to take me or what sort of legacy it will leave, but I'm telling you, you can do the same. But it starts with just start being conscious if you're lying to yourself. Start there. Are you lying to yourself about little things? Because it's a contagion that is absolutely depleting your energy and poisoning your future. All right, let me go back and hit these key points here. I'm really, really passionate about this particular subject because I'm using it myself to try to keep going to another level and catch myself every time I tell myself a lie. So stop lying is the subject. And the first point is there is a danger to lying to yourself, a real danger, because you can deny what is really a simple adjustment that needs to be made. Don't lie. Try to tell the truth. Be conscious about it. Second point is lying causes you, when you lie to yourself, it causes you to be conditioned to lie to anybody. I mean, if you can lie to yourself, come on, you can lie to anybody. It's easy then. And now all of a sudden, all this energy is being depleted to lie to yourself, to lie to everybody. Where do you think the energy is going? See, the reason to bring this to our consciousness is that anything is possible when you stop lying. Go listen to Jordan Peterson talk about what he believes Solzhenitsyn did to bring down the USSR, the Soviet Union, the tyrannical behavior of the Soviet Union at the time. One man who stopped lying to himself and wrote a book about it. I can't wait to read that one. But just hearing it is just one example of what's possible when you re-energize through the ceasing of lying. And the bonus section is lying takes enormous energy. Come on, you know it does. And it just steals the best of what's possible. Save the energy for something really kick-ass in your life and get after it. All right, I'll say it this way. We lie to ourselves all the time. And maybe because it's simply the animal brain that finds life easier that way. However, lying to yourself builds into you a persona where lying to everybody becomes easy, becomes natural. The problem is that lying requires enormous energy that depletes us. When we're depleted, we have no energy left to push ourselves into challenges that help us grow into our true potential and live a more fulfilled and energized life. So although lying is a hard habit to break, at least stop lying to yourself regularly and take notice of your newly found energy when you do just that. All right. Remember, you can take immediate action to get moving towards your goals because we take all the notes from each episode. I'll be okay. I got too passionate here today. The words are jumbled. Each episode, and we post them for a short period of time at freethinkingtools.com. I say a short period of time because they are there for a short period of time. You have to look at the last 2 episodes that are posted. The notes are there. Then we take them down because it's just too much confusion. You won't do anything. We give you instant access. You can go somewhere, print what's there, and listen to the episode. I think reading and listening at the same time provokes the greatest thought, and it really gets that neural network firing. And I think that's the most important part and endeavor with this podcast. Is to try to get you into that spot where the fireflies are firing. Also, don't forget, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe to the bonus section channel. And do me a favor, the algorithm loves it when you hit that like button so that other people can see it and it starts to show up when they're online too. Okay. We'd also appreciate it, of course, if you would join our mission of becoming people for others and share our content with other people just like you so they get some help as well. But remember this, we sign off the same way every time. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody's coming to do any of this for you. Nobody. So go get to work on yourself and on your plan to reach your goals, and we will see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks.